Hi, how are you guys this evening? I'm so excited for you all to be here. So, I want to welcome you to Platinum Rain Foundation's uh, first annual Reaching Excellence panel discussion. We are excited to have our industry leaders join us. They are going to share some insights, some strategies, some experiences of their own in leadership. So let's go ahead and just sit back and engage with our conversationalists and really think about any questions that you may have for them, because this is your time to really hear from our experts and hear how they foster collaboration, innovation, and professional growth amongst their industries. So our agenda again, we'll do our introductions, and then we'll have our panel discussion, and then there'll be the open forum. And then I have a small poll for you guys. So just quick responses for those polls. And then you will have a takeaway, a free workbook that will help you on your leadership journey and help you reach excellence. So first, I am Mariella Kennedy Towns. I am the CEO and founder of Platinum Rain Foundation. We are a new nonprofit. We just launched February 1st. How exciting is that? I mean, it's been in the making for a good 2 years. And then in the last 6 months, we've really been focusing on making sure that we launched February 1st, and we did. And so I am excited about bringing some of my expertise. I have 20 years of experience in marketing, business, philanthropy, and organizational development. I have 3 degrees. 2 of them are a master's, one an MFA in marketing and branding, another master's in communications. I'm also a second-year doctoral student focusing on organizational development, but I'm taking my sweet time on that PhD, but I'll get it before I'm 50, I promise you. I am recognized by the New York City's Journal as one of the 2023 top 20 inspiring women. And I am excited about that as one of my accolades, because I do have a deep passion for mentoring, coaching, leadership, and executive development, and the arts. So if those who know me for the past 20 years or so, you also know I dabble in the arts. A little bit about Platinum Rain Foundation. Our mission is to empower individuals to reach their full potential through transformative leadership development and access to essential resources like this. The Platinum Rain Foundation provides programs that are all virtual. So we have workshops, panel discussions, and my signature and my baby, our summer youth leadership program for girls age 11 through 18. The name Platinum Rain symbolizes strength, value, and royalty, which are qualities we seek to instill in every individual we serve. So let me introduce you to our panelists. So first we have, oh my gosh, one of my good friends here. I want you all to meet Dr. Shanelle R. Dawson. I'm just going to give you a quick bio about Dr. Shanelle. And Dr. Shanelle, it's okay, I say Dr. Shanelle. She said yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. Listen, I always tell people, when you have your PhD, when you have your master's, make sure that title and make sure everyone addresses you as so, because you earned that. That's your investment in you. And so I want to make sure that I honor all the work that you've done to earn that DR. So, Dr. Shanelle, she is a dynamic leader. She's an entrepreneur and advocate for equity, education, and community improvement and empowerment. As the primary and principal owner of the global family of companies, she has dedicated her career to fostering entrepreneurship, employee engagement, and educational access. Her ventures include Access Global Enterprises, where she serves and the entire company serves under the umbrella for her businesses. The Access Dental Laboratories, and this one, everyone, is a one to note as part of Black History Month. Access Dental Laboratories is the first 100% African American owned, women led full service dental laboratory in the US. Let's take that in. The first, everyone. She also found Global Sage Wellness, promoting mindfulness, nutrition, and fitness through yoga, guided meditation, and plant-based nutrition coaching. With a passion for uplifting underserved communities, Dr. Dawson has built a legacy of advocacy and innovation in multiple industries. Now, beyond business, Dr. Shanelle Dawson is deeply involved in public service and leadership development. In 2021, she ran for the Onondaga County Legislature, leveraging her unique connections to Syracuse and Clay, New York. And she did that to push the advancements in children and family services, healthcare access, education equity, employment opportunities, and environmental sustainability. A highly accomplished scholar, she holds degrees from San Bernardino Valley College, and also from California State University, San Bernardino. Oh, wow. Yes. Okay, Dr. Shanelle. She also holds a doctorate in organizational leadership as well. She's committed to inspiring self-discovery and innovative thinking. Dr. Shanelle, she continues to drive change through her work, embodying the belief that empowered individuals change stronger communities. Mm. Yes, I'm so excited for Dr. Shanelle to be on this panelist. So thank you, Dr. Shanelle. I also next want to introduce our next panelist here, Kate Midgett. So everyone meet Kate. Kate Midgett is the Vice President and Chief Organizational Excellence Officer at 9PBS, where she leads human resources, organizational development, and change management initiatives. She is dedicated to fostering an engaged, inclusive, and human-centered workplace and the culture that empowers employees and enhances 9PBS's community impact. Under her leadership, the organization has been recognized as the top workplace for women for the past 4 years. All right, wonderful, Kate. That is amazing. With a strong academic foundation, Kate holds master's degrees in sociology from Southern Illinois University Edwardsville and human resource development from Webster University. She is a certified SHRMP CP. I had to make sure I got those initials right. And she was honored with her HR Excellence Award in 2024 by the St. Louis Business Journal. Congratulations, Kate. Her expertise in HR strategy and leadership continues to drive excellence within 9PBS and beyond. Welcome, Kate, everyone. Next, we have Julie Mann. Everyone meet Julie. Julie is a results-driven leader with extensive experience in customer success, business development, and digital transformation. As a director of customer success at Microsoft Cloud for healthcare, she helps organizations navigate digital transformations with a focus on AI. Oh, I love AI, Julie. Absolutely love it. Our organization really is supported by AI. Consistently, Julie has been exceeding revenue targets and has been enhancing customer satisfaction. Previously, she served as Chief Commercial Officer, and she also led some commercialized efforts, strategy planning, and revenue growth there. Julie is also a champion for diversity and inclusion in the workplace, fostering equitable and innovative business environments. Beyond her corporate leadership, Julie is deeply committed to customer service. She holds the elective position of Chief Volunteer Officer and Board Chair with the YMCA of Central New York, where she plays a pivotal role in shaping communities, programs, and initiatives. Residing in Syracuse with her family, she continues to make an impact through both her professional and philanthropic efforts, driving innovation and meaningful change in healthcare and beyond. Everybody, welcome Julie. All right, and we have our next panelist, Marc Jones. All right, so Marc Jones, you guys, is a visionary entrepreneur, inventor, and former professional athlete. As the founder and CEO of Drysic Apparel Incorporated and Fan Hands LLC, he has built award-winning companies specializing in athletic apparel and sports-related innovations. A St. Louis native, Marc excels as an all-star and all Northeast U.S. running back before playing football at the University of Tennessee and professionally in the German Football League, where he earned the nickname Mr. Touchdown. Love it. Score. He graduated with a degree in psychology in 1991 and has launched Drysic Apparel in 1999 to design and manufacture his own brand of athletic gear. Beyond his business success, Marc is deeply committed to community impact. He co-founded and serves as co-chairman of the Willow Street Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to supporting local initiatives. His entrepreneurial drive and leadership are inspired by his family legacy, tracing back to his great, great, great grand aunt, Harriet Tubman. With a passion for innovation and giving back, Marc continues to create a lasting legacy in business and philanthropy. Oh my goodness. Especially during this month, we have a legacy in our vision. Amazing. Welcome, Marc. We also have our wonderful superhero. Look, you yes, Kenyon Black. I'm excited about talking about Kenyon. So Kenyon A. Black is a dedicated educator, community leader, and advocate for equity and inclusion. As the program director for the Lemoyne College Upward Bound program, he ensures that Syracuse City School District students receive the academic support necessary to graduate high school and succeed in college. Under his leadership, the program has achieved a 100% high school graduation and college enrollment rate. That's amazing. A Syracuse native, Kenyon holds a bachelor's degree in hotel, restaurant, and institutional management from Shining University and a master's degree in higher education from Lemoyne College. Beyond his professional role, Kenyon is deeply involved in his community as well. He serves as an adjunct professor at Lemoyne College, an elective board member of the Syracuse City School District Foundation, and the president of FACES, Nottingham's High School PTO. His leadership extends to multiple organizations, including the YMCA of Central New York, Neighborhood Advisory Committee, and the oh my goodness, lost my part, Racial Justice Committee at Lemoyne College. Listen, this is live here, so. He's also a deacon at Promised Land Church and a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Kenyon is committed to fostering inclusivity and advocating for educational opportunities. Everyone, welcome, Kenyon Black. Well, let's get started. How does my panelists feel? I mean, I'm trying to do my emceeing as well. You saw I pulled out my DJ skills. So how are you guys feeling this beautiful Friday Eve?
Outstanding. Glad to be here.
Wonderful. I am
glad to be here. I DJ, so I'll take care of the music next time. Let me do that.
I love it. I love it. Well, listen, let's jump right in. So I want to go ahead and start off with a few questions here. It's really truly an honor to have all of you from different industries and different levels of your career being able to share with our participants and really share your insights on how you reach excellence, how you contribute as a leader, your teams, your organizations, the impact, innovation. And so first I want to go ahead and let's start off with Dr. Shanelle. Can you share a pivotal moment in your career that significantly contribute to your growth as a leader?
I had many things I wanted to talk about when it came to this question. And what I decided to land on is courage. Um, I have not had the easiest past, but I remember when I decided I wanted to get my doctorate degree. I remember when I was teaching and I had a professor come to me and say, "Hey, you should pursue your doctorate." And I thought about it and I was like, "Well, I don't want to take another class. I'm done with school." And she said, "You know, if you get your doctorate, you'll be a part of the one percenters." And that was what resonated with me. I was like, okay, I don't mind being a part of the one percenters. And then I was faced with a situation where I had to leave Southern California. And when I left Southern California, my doctorate is from University of Laverne in Southern California. I had to fly back and forth to San Bernardino every 6 to 8 weeks. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know what it was look like. I didn't anticipate getting pregnant during my doctorate and having to bring my twins back and forth to San Bernardino, California. But what I realized was one, no matter how you believe the chips are down, mindset. If you believe that everything, anything is possible, you can get to it. And I remember taking a step back and saying, you know what, no matter what, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to figure out how to do it and I'm going to get it done. And sure enough, and I think I took one extra year. So in 4 years, I was able to get it done, flying across the country. And this was when I was told, well, you know, to do what you want, you don't need it. Where I knew that I didn't have to have it, but I started the journey. And what I realized was no matter how difficult, no matter how trying, no matter how many obstacles, self inflicted and otherwise, um, with the focus and the dedication and the commitment, I could figure out a way to get it done. And so I would say that was probably my most significant challenge and pivot.
Oh, I love that. And you said a key word, mindset, because I
Mhm.
feel like if you didn't have that mindset, you wouldn't have kept going. I love that.
Right.
Yes. I'm gonna ask the same question to Mark. How can you share or can you share a pivotal moment in your career that would significantly contribute to your growth as well?
Absolutely. I was thinking about this question as well, and to all the panelists, I'm so happy that I'm on this panel, sitting beside you. And I personally know one panelist, and Shanelle, and she's great, outstanding, and we've been friends since for a very long time. So I know I'm in a good group, core good group. So, but
Wonderful. I didn't know that.
yeah,
I just bring people together. Love
yeah,
connection.
Syracuse is too small. But one of the pivotal moments in my leadership career was basically COVID.
Mm.
COVID brought out all the challenges, all the obstacles, and even more of what I ever experienced as a business owner. And the main word that was key for me during the COVID years, where it was really intense for that 2.5, 3 years, was the word pivot. So I really truly had to gain knowledge as fast as possible, try to assess damage as fast as possible, and try to go ahead and rectify and come up with a new game plan and an infrastructure so that I could get through COVID. So COVID was that pivotal moment in my life where I said, you know what, I need to step up to the plate and show that not just my staff, who I knew relied on me, but also my family and my community, that I am a leader and the CEO of Dreisig Company and Dreisig Apparel, and that I'm going to lead them past this crisis of COVID. And pivot was the main word that I used a lot, obviously during the COVID years. And the main pivot was, again, I specialize in apparel and textiles. During COVID, I have a couple of hospital accounts that I had during COVID, or I'm sorry, before and prior to COVID. And so those hospital accounts always wanted PPE supplies, but again, it wasn't a dominant force in my infrastructure and in my business model. during COVID, I basically went ahead and I shifted and I started going and getting all PPE supplies out during COVID. That was the major pivot. One of the things that people ask me, well, you know, you have to be able to adapt and adjust as a leader. And it really truly came into play with me during COVID. And I was successful enough to where I knew I just wanted to make my family, make my staff, who is my family, make sure that they can still take care of their families during COVID. So I knew that we had to go on. Another thing about COVID was we were deemed essential. So we really truly we couldn't go out of business because of the hospital account. So we really truly had to keep moving. So I set a staff meeting together and I brought all of my staff in and I asked them, I said, listen, we're deemed essential. We can't close down. I know I know you're scared. This is something brand new for all of us. If you can't do this and if you don't think you can go through this with me, please, I have no problems with you saying, Mark, I can't do it. All of my staff, my entire staff dedicated themselves to the hard work to get everybody through COVID that we had to supply with supplies and PPE supplies. And that's where we were able to go ahead and come together and pivot as a company so that we can go ahead and survive for the next phase after COVID. So.
Oh, I love that. And I think everyone can take away, knowing how to pivot, knowing that in your leadership role, you have to make those executive directions and be able to make that move and looking at it for the betterment of not only the organization, but also the individuals that work with you as well. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Marc.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
And so I'm going to ask this question to one more person, and then we're going to move to a new question here. So, Kate, can you share a pivotal moment in your career that significantly contributes to your growth as a leader?
I can, and thank you for having me. It's really nice to be here this evening. So I had just started a job early in my career at an organization, and I took the job where I had a pretty significant pay cut than what I was receiving prior to being there. And I negotiated when I was hired, if 90 days in you feel like I'm doing a good job, then can you consider bumping up my salary a little bit? And so at 90 days, I had a performance review and I ended up getting the raise. But during the review, they said, "How do you think you're doing?" I said, "I think I'm doing really, really good. I'm getting the hang of this." And I said, "How do you think I'm doing?" And they said, "Well, the one lesson that we want you to take is you need to know what to say, how to say it, and who to say it to." And I was like, "Ooh, that doesn't feel good at all." And my initial response was just to push it away and not want to hear what they were saying. And it took me a couple days to really kind of meditate on it a little bit. And then I tried to be open to it. And I really started to think about the message that they were trying to tell me, not the way they said it, but the message. And it really shaped my attitudes and my behavior toward what type of leader I wanted to be, because I realized that as a leader, people are watching you, whether you realize it or not, and how you show up, how you carry yourself, how you treat other people, all the ways that you navigate through your day and the way you can influence others. You're either going to influence them for the better or you're going to have a negative impact on them. And so it really helped to shape me and how I interacted with others really on a daily basis. I mean, it's every single time you're coming in contact with someone. So it was hard for me to hear, but I think I probably took more from it than they were even intending in that moment and that message. But it's something that I've really carried with me throughout. And I use that example with a lot of the staff that I work with and the staff I mentor as the most helpful piece of information that I received. And just because somebody gives you feedback and you don't like it doesn't mean it's not great feedback.
Mhm. Yes. Oh, that's important. And I really love how you took that and decided, okay, now I'm going to think about the type of leader I'm going to be moving forward. And so that's something that we can all take from, just hearing feedback from others and then making a conscious choice of if we're going to be a transformational leader or if we're just going to not listen to the feedback. So nice. Thank you for sharing
Yes.
that.
Mhm.
Yes. So my next question is for Kenyon. So let's talk a little bit about mentorship and networking. So how have mentorship and networking played a role in your professional development?
First, I want to say thank you for having me here tonight, and good evening, everybody.
Mhm.
Mentors are everything. I have a thing. I try to be the best mentor for somebody else, just like somebody mentored me. Um, I call it being a co-pilot. Like, who's your co-pilot? So my co-pilots are my mentors, and they're there to help me navigate and get to my destination. But they're also there to hold me accountable. So I've been fortunate to have people say, "Hey, I thought you wanted to do this, so you got to stay in this line." And as a mentor, they're supposed to be able to tell you you're going in the wrong direction. So mentors are so important. Mentors are just as important as your best friend, as your best mate. It's that one person that doesn't really have any skin in the game, but they want to see you be successful. So I've been blessed to have great mentors, a great family foundation, and I know that's what my students need. That's what my staff needs, is mentors to tell them, like, hey, you're wrong, or you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and help you navigate and keep you on track. I think it's so important to piggyback off of Kate. Like, sometimes you don't want to hear something, but you need to hear it. And that mentor should be comfortable saying, hey, um, you said you wanted to do this, you said you wanted to do that, but your habits aren't in line with your vision. And so, like, okay, and as you grow older, you don't take the compliment, you don't take criticism in a negative way. I think I've grown there too. So I believe mentorship is so important. And no matter how old you are, no matter what profession you're in, you all need to have a mentor.
Yes, yes, I agree. I see as in order for you to reach excellence, that mentorship is key. And those mentors have to be truth tellers, right? They have to be our truth tellers. They have to put that mirror in front of us and make us really dig deeper. So yes, thank you for sharing. I'm
So
gonna pass.
I believe the good doctor had something she wanted to add. Yes.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Shanelle.
Mariella, yeah, I did. I rarely admit this, but I've had a lot of professors and teachers and educators who worked with me. I didn't have a mentor until probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I think during the most challenging period of my life was when, had I not had a mentor pull me through, I don't know if I would have been successful getting to the other end. And this is, I mean, through all of my degrees, through job transitions, career transitions, betting on myself, no mentorship.
Hmm.
But in 2022, I knew I was facing something that I needed assistance with, and I did not know who to go to. And this is how God, universe, ancestors, whatever you believe in, how it works. Someone reached out to me and said, hey, I've been watching. Are you okay? And I said, no, actually, I'm not. And then there was someone else who said, because I do a lot of volunteer work with students, who said, hey, talk to me about, are you taking this trip with the students this year? And I was like, no, I'm not going to be able to. I'm going through too much. Those two people stepped up for me in a way that I have never had in my life. And I come from a large community where I have access to a lot of people, but I don't know if my outcome would have been the same had I not had those two people who still today reach out to me regularly, just checking in, and I call them friend now, but they mentored me through and mentored, coach, supported, uplift, hands on my back. And
Yeah.
so I want to bring that up because a lot of times people think they can go it alone. And I was one of those people. And I realized that under no circumstance could I have gotten through what I went through without the people who surrounded me.
Yes, I love that. Thank you for sharing because, we are better together. And in the process of us being professionals, we all say, I got this, I can handle this.
Mhm.
I've been giving something and nothing's, too much for me. And so we take on those challenges. But I will say, even as a coach as well, I always tell my coachees that you want to build that network, your ecosystem. And so that ecosystem does include your mentorship. So it's good to hear that you had experienced that. And I'm glad you got through because let's look at you. Amazing. And I really want to also chime in with this same question and pass it on to Julie. I wonder, how has mentorship and networking played a role in your professional development?
Yeah, thank you. And similar to everyone else, it's wonderful to be here, and I'm really enjoying the conversation. I think mentorship is essential, and I think that from my experience, I've had several different mentors. And I think when I'm faced with a hard decision for me, I'm a big fan of like kind of the old school pros and cons list, like literally writing it down and sleeping on it and then revisiting it and kind of talking up those points with my different mentors. And I think a few different times where I've made decisions, some of my mentors have supported the decision. Others have been like, don't do it, it's going to be terrible, And I think that you have to kind of solicit the feedback, from that trusted network, look at your own list, and then a lot of times follow your heart, and I really have had the privilege of most of the time when I made those decisions that went against some of my mentors, it did work out for the best for me, and what I've appreciated is I've even been able to go back to those mentors, and not that I've wrote them off because they didn't think that was the right path for me, just to talk through, with them. And then I've almost made them stronger mentors to me, and I think that that's valuable too, because a lot of these decisions it's helpful to have that sounding board, and have that person that always is going to have your back, but no one is going to believe in you like you believe in yourself.
Mm.
So I think if you have that confidence, when I was much younger, I was very shy. And I really didn't have a lot of confidence. I know it's right. That's crazy. And I just remember thinking like, and talking to like one of my mentors that helped me a lot with confidence. I was just saying like those types of things. Like, if you don't believe in yourself, like who will? And I think that is so important to kind of think through that. So yes, having mentors, I think, is important. And I think depending on what phase you are in your leadership journey, you should always be soliciting another mentor, because you're going to keep leveling up, and you want to keep having that mentor or that next mentor that's going to bring you up to that next level.
Yes, yes, good information, good tips. And I also love how even the old school method of writing down the pros and cons, now the new buzzword is what, manifestation. So I think that's really the same concept. And so I love that you still do that and tap into that advancement in your career. So let's go ahead and shift. I'm curious about like balance, innovation, and maintaining some high standards for you guys. So I'm going to throw this question over to Marc. So how do you balance innovation and maintain high standards of excellence in your work, especially in this competitive industry?
That's a great question. And I know I'm in a space that a lot of people aren't in, obviously on the panel. And so when you're talking about apparel and you're talking about textiles and the industry that I'm in, innovation is key. Everything is always you're always going to be in a constant state of innovation. And what I say, and when I go out and I talk to other industries and I talk to other leaders within my apparel industry, I tell them that we always have to be constantly evolving. And one is not just evolving as a leader, but also evolving as a company, also evolving as a business strategy, also evolving the technologies and the fabrics. So we always have to be on our game if you're a CEO or an owner of an apparel company. And the innovation part is basically, again, going from old school, cut and sew methods to where now you have innovative equipment that that's cutting and sewing for you, that's putting everything together. Normally it would take, maybe 5 hours to make a garment. Right now it might take 15 to 20 minutes. So that's the innovation of it. The leader aspect of it is that you really truly have to ask questions for people that are already in the game and in my industry. That's the big thing that I do. That's the strategy that I have personally, is I'm always asking questions to people that I think are smarter than me. And that's a lot of people. So I just take good advice and I run with the good advice sometimes, but I really truly ask questions, but I really truly listen to what they say. I don't hear what they say. I listen to what they say, and I dissect it for what it means for me, translate it, interpret it for what it needs for me, for what I need for me and my company, and then I move forward with it. So I'll adjust things and tweak it my Dreisig way, but asking questions is key, and then going ahead and figuring out a strategy. And I think Shanelle mentioned earlier, my thing is, again, is about mindset as well, right? I have to have that constant mindset that basically is, I'm going to be an innovator always and forever. That has to be true when you're dealing within the apparel industry. The fabrics and the technology of fabrics and again, the sewing, the techniques of how you're putting the apparel together, they are constantly changing. So that's the big evolving that I need to know as the CEO of the company, of how are we going to move forward. The next thing that I have is more so where technology, and now try more technology getting into the apparel sector right now. And that's where I'm having my son, who's a freshman up at Lemoyne in the Madden School. He's going for business leadership and management, my son Julian, but he's going to get involved and he's going to bring that aspect of the business to my business Streisig as well. Because again, that's the next factor, that's the next segment that we see, and I see that in the future. So.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And one of the things that you stated resonated with me too. I heard years ago when I was a business apprentice in fashion, in the fashion industry. Yes,
Yeah.
I was in another life. But I remember one of the CEOs told me, if you're the smartest one at the table, you're at the wrong table.
Mhm.
And so
Absolutely.
I love that you say you ask questions and ask questions, and then you take those responses and tailor that to your own industry, your own company, and thinking about innovation and technology, and even bringing legacy in, having your son follow your footsteps. I love that. Beautiful. Yes.
Thank you.
Smart. Thank you. And I'm gonna ask Kate the same question. How do you balance innovation and maintaining high standards of excellence at your work, especially in your current industry?
Yeah, I think first you have to put the work in to know what you want to do. So as you're developing a strategy, really be thinking about it from all angles and be ready to make sure that it's applicable to whatever situation that you're gonna use it in. And then you need to really just be ready, because maybe you have the right solution, but it's at the wrong time. And so knowing when is the right time to go ahead and assert whatever it is that you have, and make sure that it's appropriate for the situation. And then how can you bring people together to collaborate and partner and bring the best out of people to move whatever it is that you're trying to do forward? Because, you know, change is hard for all of us. And if you can do it with your group versus to your group, I think you're always going to go a lot farther together. So I think it's putting the work in, know what you want to do, be ready, and wait for that moment when the time is right. And then how can you use your influence and your leadership capacity to really strengthen those around you and move it forward?
Yes. And you really just hit the nail right on top of the head. The collaboration piece is key.
For
And
sure.
for us to keep that in mind in our leadership role, that collaboration, those partnerships is a huge part in that journey, especially when you're reaching excellence in your organization. And so, I mean, that would actually have me move to my next question. And I'm going to ask this of Kate. What role has collaboration played in your journey to excellence, and how do you foster it within your teams?
I think that you're only as strong as the people around you. And so it's really knowing what your strengths are, knowing what their strengths are, and knowing what motivates them, what resonates with them, so that you can really encourage them to be their best. So the way that we frame it at work is I want to understand what each individual who walks in our door, I want to understand what makes them thrive. And I'm going to work to create that environment for them because I know their work is going to thrive if they have the environment to help them thrive. So I'm not focused as much on the outputs of what they're doing. I'm focused on how can I create an atmosphere for you to be successful. And that really involves relationships. It revolves understanding and caring about the people around you and just knowing that you're only as strong as the folks that you're working with.
Oh, I love that, Kate. Especially in your industry, with media, things can, have what I call the beauty of chaos. And so I love
For
that you
sure.
keep that focus and making sure that you have that at your organization. I'm curious, at Lemoyne College, Kenyon, is your roles very similar in collaborating? So how do you look at collaboration as part of your journey to excellence, and how do you foster that within your teams there at Lemoyne?
Well, for me, I try to. I work with young people. I work with high school kids. So black. I used to have a head full of hair. I used to be just. But working with children, it's just ugh. But anyway, let me get off that. Collaboration matters because they want to see how you work with other people. And so, like, do you respect what they do? Do they respect what you do? Valuing their opinion, their ideas. That's what my students need to see. Um, when it comes to collaboration, it's almost like when a kid goes to college, do they know who to go to when they need something? Like, who do they go to advocate for this, for mental health, for academic support? Like, to me, that's what collaboration is. It's finding somebody who can do what you need so that you can be successful.
Mhm.
Um, Unfortunately, this generation prefers to, just listen to this analogy. It's going to kind of corny, but it makes sense. But like, kids will wait in a hole and they're getting dirt put on top of them they're waiting for a shovel. So instead of like, let me just start throwing dirt out with my hand, try to do something, be as proactive as possible. They don't, and then they're constantly waiting for this answer. They got to be, collaboration means like stepping out, like being vulnerable and understanding I have a need that I can't fix. I work with first generation low income students. That was me. So like, y'all can't wait. If y'all want to eat, the ingredients are in there, but y'all don't want to cook. So like, what do y'all want to do? So collaboration matters. Like, okay, well, I don't know how to do this. This person does, and they're gonna help me. but making sure when you collaborate with somebody that it sharpens your tool at the same time. It sharpens your tool that you have in your tool belt, so then that you can be somebody that can collaborate with somebody else. So collaboration is major, and collaboration also helps with the eliminating the headache of always having to do it on your own, always having to figure it out yourself. When you collaborate with somebody else, it's like, oh, okay, well, I can do this, well, Julie can do that, well, Kate can do that, Mark can do that. That makes it so much easier. Like, I can be on here by myself and I can babble, y'all know me, but having 5 other people, collaboration makes this so much easier. So accepting, stepping back, take leadership when you have to, take a step back, take a breather, be allowed to be vulnerable, and find the right people to collaborate with.
Yes, I love that. I hope everyone wrote those tips down because that is exactly what we need. Thank you, Kenyon. And I now want to ask Julie, when you think about strategies that you play in your role and the strategies that you develop and are ready to execute, I'm sure you do also think about who in your organization is going to be part of that team to execute those strategies. I'm curious, what strategies do you use to continuously improve your skills as a leader and for your team, and then stay in the forefront of your field?
Ooh, I love that question. And anything with strategy is like top of mind to me. So I feel like I am in it right now with Microsoft and AI. And even when Kenyon earlier said his mentor was like Copilot, Microsoft's AI solutions are called Copilot. So I was like, oh my gosh, I hear about Copilot all the time. And it's brand new, right? Totally transforming everyday work. The segment that I work on in Microsoft is within the healthcare segment. So the way the AI is really applied to the doctors and care providers is it silently is listening in the background as a physician is conducting an exam with the patient. And as they're having a natural conversation, the AI parses out the important pieces of information and does the clinical note for the doctor. So it allows the doctor to kind of maintain eye contact, kind of focus on the person, not be so distracted by making sure they're taking all the notes and capturing all the information. The cognitive burden, with that is really high. And so it's unbelievable, right? So the key thing of these very strategic initiatives that our Microsoft customers are running with this innovative technology, it can be overwhelming. So the key to that is to always accept the fact that you have to learn and dedicate the time for education. And we spend a lot of time doing that. Next week, I'm going to be in a conference in Las Vegas. It's a huge healthcare conference. Microsoft is announcing huge innovations there. We got a sneak preview of it yesterday. And even for me, it still makes me feel uncomfortable because I'm going to be at the conference expected, right, to be a subject matter expert talking to people when I have a few days to learn about this, right? It was that top secret. So we don't have a lot of that time. But it is that strategy of even when you're at the forefront of some innovative technology like AI right now, is learning everything you can and being human about it. When we're having these conversations, AI is very new to everyone. And the fact that what I know and what I'm going to be talking to my customers about, I'm going to be 3 days ahead of them, kind of in that learning journey. And also understanding that I don't need to know everything. So from a strategy perspective, when I think about that, really foundational, Mariella, for me, is just that education, of making sure that I'm learning things. And the best way that I learn it is I also then need to talk to people about it. So as I'm learning, reading things, taking classes, listening to a lecture, the best way that I know that I've learned something is when I'm then able to explain it to somebody else. So that's always kind of part of my process is like kind of going through, even if it's my kids, who don't necessarily care about AI. I'm like, hey, let me tell you about this new thing we're doing. And if I can at least pique their interest and it gives me an opportunity to just practice, of what my knowledge is.
Mhm. Love it. I love it. Listen, I also use my son as my mock interview, mock all everything is a mock with him. So he, I feel like when we do that, we also instill little seeds in them. We plant little seeds, so it'll continue to help that mind grow in every area of their life. But I love how you stated that staying educated and then in that moment knowing you only had a few days to get this information, I feel like that keyword we talked about earlier, pivot, came in that moment. And so thank you for sharing that. And I'm curious, with your industry, Dr. Shanelle, what are some strategies that you use to continuously improve on your skills and with your organization as well? And how do you stay in the forefront of your field? Are you similar to Julie over in Microsoft? Just really curious with your industry in Access Global.
I was listening to Julie and I was like, yeah, all of that. What a lot of people don't know is I'm a teacher. I've been a K through 12 teacher for over 20 years, and I got into education to work with students who learned differently. Um, and I did that because I have a son who is on the autism spectrum. And so I was like, I got to figure out how to meet his needs, but I also got to figure out how to give this to other people who maybe doesn't have a parent who can just say, I'm not going to do what I used to do. I'm going to do this. And so when it comes to what I do, I read. And it's funny because when I was in high school, I didn't read. And
Mm.
so if the class assignment was to read, one of the classics, Pride and Prejudice, I'd skim through and write an essay because I knew how to BS my way through a book. Now, here I am in college. Some of you don't know this, but I flunked out of college when I first got started, but because I wouldn't read. Yeah, I know, Kenyon. I would not read. I was like, I don't want to read. Now, from the time I got in grad school to I've read, and I wish I would say 1,000 and that not be accurate, but I've read like 1,000 books. And every book I read, I have to read more than once because I don't understand it the first time. And so, how I improve, excel, and grow is through reading. I read a lot. And I'm always on the road. And so I download every book I have a copy of, I also have on audiobooks. But I also listen to lectures. Any lecture I can find that is related to what I do, I find it and I listen to it. And I also go on platforms where people who do what I do exist and they write about it. I read articles. I actually used to be a peer reviewer on a scholarly journal. And so I find scholarly journals, I find non-scholarly journals. I just want the information. Something else I do is I'm not a technician in my field, but I have a team of technicians around me. And so when we talk, I just listen. Leadership is something I understand, but I don't necessarily understand the technical aspect of it. And I learn by brainstorming and taking information in that people deliver. And so I like to listen to what people say. I learn and improve and excel and make decisions based on all of the information. I tell people I'm good at synthesizing. And so if I have 20 people giving me information, I know how to organize it in my head and then create a plan based on all of the information. And so give me all the information. I want it all. Anything someone who wants to give me to help me do better, I want all of that. And I'll figure out how to organize it. And so that's what I do.
Love it. I love it. You're very similar to me. I want all of the information. I need to know all the intel, all the detail of everything. And it's how you use that to build the foundation of every blueprint so you can be successful. And I love that you share that. One of the other things I love is that you didn't even take that first mishap of not keeping going with college and failing out of that. You didn't take that as a full failure and was like, okay, I'm done. Now, I'm not going back. You got right back on it and decided to change your mindset, use that growth mindset to accomplish your goals. And I love that because a lot of people will take that and then say, okay, well, I'll try something else. Or when it's really a lesson for you to learn and build on, it can make you stronger. And I see that you use that to make you stronger. I love
You
it.
know, Maria, I want to say this. I never chased the money.
Mm,
And that was why I stayed in education. It stayed going to school. I made more money prior to getting my degree.
mm,
When I had to jump in to this position, I was making more money as a consultant, but I knew that running the laboratory required all of my attention. And so it's not just the courage under fire, but it's also willing to make the sacrifices. I tell people I'm always willing to bet on me. I will
yes.
bet on me no matter what, because I believe that no matter what, when all is said and done, whatever the job is, I can get it done. You know,
Yeah,
I will say that.
I love that. Bet on you. Listen, that's another, we're putting that in the parking lot as well, up there with Pivot. Oh gosh, love. I'm getting so filled with so much knowledge and empowerment. And I love that, betting on yourself is a key thing too, because a lot of times we allow like the imposter syndrome to sink in and we don't take the opportunity to counteract that and say no, actually I am very qualified to do this. Not only will I accomplish these goals, but I will probably oversee those goals as well. And so betting on yourself is key. And you really do have to have the confidence to sit and let everyone know that you can handle the work that's coming in front of you. So thank you for sharing that. And really, when like we think about like setbacks and failures, I want to pass this question over to Marc. Can you discuss a failure or a setback that was a valuable lesson, similar to Dr. Shanelle, and how did it shape your leadership style? What did it teach you?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. So, eh, with with that question being said, I think all of us as leaders, I think we've all had failures and setbacks, right, along our journey. And I say that this process that I'm going through now is a journey, right? So me playing my dream growing up was playing professional football. I was able to accomplish that. One out of a few, right, people in the world that can do something like that. But I remember that when I was in high school and I was getting interviewed by a local reporter, and they were like, "Well, Marc, do you think that you're gonna ever play pro football?" And I said, you know what? I think if I can go from high school and if I can go to a major college program like the University of Tennessee, I think my chances will be a lot greater that I can go ahead and I can play pro football. The pro football at that time, when I was getting interviewed my junior year of high school, pro football at that time, the only time that I knew was the NFL. That was the only organization that I knew of professional football. And when I look back at it now and I say, wow, you know what? That was something that I thought of NFL, but I didn't realize that I was going to end up in Germany and playing professional football in Germany. And even though some people might have thought of that as a setback, which I did as well, and a failure, that was my biggest achievement going and over to Germany and playing and having a career over there my last 6 seasons. And that was my destiny. So my thing is, even though it might have been a setback or a failure in other people's minds, that was my greatest success. And my destiny now, knowing with me being a leader and me being the CEO of a professional company for 25 years, 25 years. So, which is a milestone, and I love that. So I'm very, very happy of that accomplishment. But going ahead and being the CEO of Dreisig, I never thought that I would be in the position that I am until it really dawned on me down the road that, you know what? My dream was to go over to Germany and play professional football, but that wasn't my destiny. My destiny was creating Dreisig from that experience of going over and playing pro football in Germany. That is what I go out and I try to tell that message to a lot of young athletes or whatever today. Is sometimes you so focused on one aspect of it, and if you don't achieve that, you think it's a failure and you think it's a setback. That was my greatest accomplishment. Me not going to the NFL, but me going ahead and playing my last 6 years of professional football in Germany. And that was my destiny of going ahead and doing that. So I basically, again, my mindset, that wasn't a failure. That wasn't a setback. It was a part of my journey so that I could have the successful future that I have now.
Yes, I love that. I love it. And I love how you didn't let the naysayers control the way you pivoted for your life because you were investing in yourself as well. And if you didn't go there and play overseas, then who knows if Dreisig would have been here or not, you know? And so I love that. I love that. And very similar to my experience being in the fashion industry. I think people now, 15 years later, ask me when you're gonna design something again. When's your next collection? And I'm like, well, listen, my collection is Platinum Reine Foundation. That is what I birthed. That is what I've designed. Those are the programs, and I'm going to make that social impact that way. But I appreciate that experience being in the fashion industry. And yeah, I dabble a little bit in being creative. Maybe I'll pop out and do something that'll be for a fundraising effort. But I love how what you said when people were thinking, oh, that's a setback because you wasn't in the NFL. It was like, no, I played professionally and it was in Germany. And how many people can say that, you know? And then now I have 25 years owning and running a successful organization. And it not only that, it birthed two more organizations. You know, you can speak about your fan hands and Willow Street Foundation. So I love that. Thank you, Marc.
You're welcome.
Is anybody else getting inspired over here? Are you all feeling empowered on this call, on this panel? Yes, I am as well. I have a few more questions that I want to ask our amazing industry leaders here. And so I want to shift a little bit on advice that you can share with everyone, especially like our aspiring leaders and also our youth as well. You all are aware that I have a summer youth leadership program for girls 11 through 18. And so this is also an opportunity to not just talk to our aspiring leaders that are adults, but then also our youth and help empower them as well. So I'm going to shift this question over to, let's go to Julie. What advice would you give to aspiring leaders who are looking to achieve excellence in their careers?
Oh, achieving excellence in your careers. I think aim high. That's the first thing is, when I think through like how I have gotten to a leadership role at Microsoft, that didn't happen immediately, like when I graduated college, for example, or when I graduated high school. You don't just all of a sudden kind of do that. But I had aspired to always want to work for an innovative technology company. Like that was always kind of in my plan. And I've always aspired very high with that, right? So I feel like if I had set the bar low, like I would have stayed low. So when you set the bar high, it then helps you think through like, okay, what do I then need to do? What are the steps I need to take to kind of get there? Who are the people that I need to have in my network, right? That are going to give me that mentorship that's going to help me kind of continue to level up. What education do I need? And when I say education, it isn't just, degrees, like that totally is important, but it also is, who can I expose myself to? Or what can I expose myself to? What kind of projects can I try? What kind of volunteer opportunities are out there, right? That would help me kind of develop those skills and kind of nurture those pieces in me that are missing. And so I think that's really my advice is aim high, and then you can kind of see where your gaps are and you can slowly start working towards those. And I think there's different timeframes with those things. If I remember, early on in my career, the question of where do you see yourself in 10 years? I hated that. I was always like, I don't know. Like, I still can't answer that question, but I can see it in more smaller bite sizes. I can aspire, now that I've kind of been doing this for a while, like I know what my next move is going to be, so I'm already working on that next move now. And that helps me stay motivated, stay focused, and keep developing myself.
I love that. I love that. And so aim high, another key word for us to write down. Yes, Mark want to add.
Yes, Julie, and that's great. I love that you say aim high because I always try to tell people, and again, I'm always trying to touch base with the youth because they're the foundation of our future. And I tell them all the time, it's similar to what Julie just said, is shoot for the stars, right? Shoot for the stars. Always shoot for the stars. But if you end up in the clouds, if you come up short and you end up in the clouds, you're still up there high and you're still achieving something great. But you know what? You're definitely not on the ground anymore, right? So shoot for the stars. And then if you end up in the clouds, you're still in a great position. You're still in a great way.
I love
Yeah,
that.
definitely, definitely. And I'm curious, what would you add, Kate, to that advice for our aspiring leaders?
I think that, your own personal timeline and timetable and the actual timeline that your life is going to take might look very different. Um, it took me 10 years to graduate with my bachelor's degree. I actually graduated the same night as my 10-year high school reunion. And it was because I wasn't focusing, I wasn't doing what I needed to do. If I took a class, I'd either get an A or I'd flunk it. There was no in between. I was either going to do it or I bottomed out. And that what I've realized in all aspects of my life, though, is if you take one step forward in the right direction, the universe is going to take you too. And so you just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other and moving forward. And I think that something else I've learned is that people talk about a career ladder, but I've also heard it described as a career rock wall. So a ladder just goes up and down. Either you're moving forward or you're not. But a rock wall, sometimes you need to go left, sometimes you need to go right, sometimes you need to pivot, right? You have to pivot back a little bit for you to be able to find a better position to go up. And I've had to do that a number of times throughout my career is say, in this moment, I'm going to take a little bit of a step back, but I know that step is going to put me 10 feet ahead, 2 years from now. So I think it's just always trying to keep staying focused on what you ultimately want to achieve, even if the timeline in front of you isn't happening as fast as you would want it. You have to just keep your head down and keep grinding and doing the right things. And there's going to be people along the way who see that And hopefully you'll have people who are willing to open those doors for you and speak your name in rooms that you're not in it, and just keep moving you forward. And I've found that to be true in my own career.
Love it. I love it. So we have aiming high and reaching for the stars. And even if you don't hit the stars, you're still in the sky, you're up high, you're not on the ground. And then you have, there's either the career ladder going straight up, or there's the rock wall, where you're making those lateral moves. And those are key too. I learned that in my career as well. Is sometimes you got to make that lateral move to get you to the next step that you're trying to get to. And it's okay. There's no real definitive rule book that says you have to go this one direction. And I love that you all are sharing that. I would love to hear, Kenyon, if you can chime in on this same question, what advice would you give to aspiring leaders? And how would that look like to achieve excellence in their career?
Well, everybody's spot on, 100%. So what I'm going to add is your habits are your future. Like whatever you're doing right now, like every day, will determine your future. And I would treat it like I want to lose weight. I want to have a body like Diesel, but I eat cookies. So my habits do not reflect what my future is going to look like. So let's be 100, right? So, and what Dr. Shanelle said, I just said it to a kid: don't chase money. Money runs faster than anything you can imagine. If you find your passion, you'll always be in a good place. The money will come after that. So find something that makes you happy. And then just really, like I said before, develop a habit now that's going to lead to your greatness. But everything is not nothing's a destination. It's a journey. So every setback really allows you to focus more. When you're going, you miss out on stuff. But when you have a setback, you kind of sit back, you focus a little bit, and then you can see what you're supposed to be doing. Take those setbacks as stepping stools. And if you get a chance, and like what Julie said was spot on, the people around you matter. Negative energy, that's dead weight. I'm too old for that. But if you get a chance, watch Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith. And there's a scene where he says they're playing basketball and the son takes a shot, and he kind of gives him this, well, don't put too much focus into this because there's no future in this, yada, yada, yada. And people say that because they can't do what you can do. So you got to decide yo, I'm going to be great. This is what I'm going to do. And then, you want haters. And I don't know how young people are on this call. You want some haters. Haters are motivation. So find your passion, find what you want to do, and keep them haters around. That's motivation.
Love. So your haters are your motivators, right? Love it. Love it. It's interesting because when you talked about how others wouldn't see what you're doing and they become like a distraction or your haters, there was a sermon I heard years ago, oh gosh, maybe 2009, 2010. And the sermon was about giraffes and turtles. And it was all about vision. The giraffe, its neck is so long, so it sees from a global lens. It sees everything, while the turtle sits at its low level. And not saying that high level, low level, one is right or wrong, but the turtle just has a different viewpoint from its level. And so, the giraffe had once leaned its neck down to tell the turtle everything that he saw in the forefront, but the turtle just didn't believe him. He was just like the naysayer, no, I don't see that. And sometimes, not everybody's going to see your vision from your level. They may be a turtle or they may be a giraffe, whichever one is your vision. And so not letting, the turtle disturb the giraffe's thought process of moving forward, because if he would have kept his neck down low, he would have lost oxygen and passed out. He he wouldn't have reached his destination or his vision. And so I love that, like you're saying, like, don't let your haters, your naysayers, stop you from, where you're trying to go, because it is a journey. It's not a destination. Great quote. Nothing is a destination. It's a journey. I actually wrote that down, Kenyon. So I will.
And I will be charging you. So make sure, is this being recorded? Okay, good. Thank you. All right. Checking the mail.
You trademark it already. I love it. I love it. So we're going to take one more question for you all. And then in the next few minutes, we're going to open it up to our open dialogue for questions to be asked to the panelists from our participants here. So my one question is going to go towards Dr. Shanelle. Tell me, how do you measure success and excellence in your role in leadership? And what matrix do you focus on?
I would say that I know I measure it by my team. My team. That's the easy part. I guess the other part is would be my clients. I have clients who have had an opportunity to leave, but they've chose to stay with me. I have team members who I'm sure could make more money elsewhere, but they have chose to stay with me. I believe in alignment, and I believe in integrity as a leader. And I believe that most of my team members know that about me. And so the people close to me, the people on my team, the people I serve, I think they know that about me. And I'm passionate about community. I'm extremely passionate about community. And I don't mince words when it comes to why I do what I do. My goal is to uplift a community that needs attention. And so that's why I do what I do. And I think that's what I have been able to do. And I think that is what has helped me on this journey. I do believe that. Yeah.
Love it. I love that. And I'll ask the same question to Julie. And actually, this would be for everyone on the panel. How do you measure success and excellence in your role? And as a leader, what are those matrix that you focus on?
Yeah, I think for me, it's very similar to what Dr. Shanelle was saying, is like the value of your team. I think that's just incredible. There's so many different ways to measure. I am a huge fan of strategic plans for an organization, right? I love a strategic plan because that sets, the pulse of the organization. That's the foundation. And then everyone should understand how they contribute to the success of that strategic plan. So within that plan, it then ties to the different goals, and then you divide those goals up, amongst the different team members. And then you track against those goals and you measure and celebrate success. And I love that. I've always been a believer in transparency of, kind of having that and tying it to what the organization believes is success. And I think there was a question in the chat too of like, how do you get alignment, right? Like with your different teams, like with those goals. And I think if you're not tied to the organization's goals, and there isn't that strategic plan that you're tied into, it's impossible, because people would be like, why are you asking me to do that? That has nothing to do, right, with our mission as a company. And it happens so frequently though, right? Like you hear of all these different organizations that are kind of in chaos because people don't understand how they fit into that world, right? So even with a large company, Microsoft, that I'm in, the mission is to empower everyone to be better, right? It's like essentially that. So for me, working in the healthcare segment as a leader with AI, I understand, how I tie up into that goal. My goal is going to look very different than somebody in Microsoft that is in a position with like our Surface hardware or within the Xbox business, but they can see their path of how they tie into that goal. So I think measuring the success, right, really depends on kind of where you sit in an organization. But I would say having that clear vision, from the very top of the organization, and then making sure you tie to that. And I've seen just challenges of when some companies don't have that. And if they don't have that clarity, you're never going to be able to say, I was successful, because success wasn't outlined of what that should look like.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. And do you, Kenyon, have the same measurements, or your measurements are different?
Yeah, so I'm funded by the Department of Education. I get money, I write a grant, I get the money, and I run with it, right? So not literally run, but I run a program. Just some of y'all looking like, ooh, he told on himself. No, that's not what I meant. So I measure my value pretty much what Dr. Shanelle said. Like my staff, I see them grow. Like I see them flourish. They feel valued. My students, the success, the graduate from high school, they're going to college, zero debt to minimal debt. Then they come back and they work for me. Then they come back and mentor a current student. They write me letters. They know to text me and call me. They know my love language. So that's when I know I'm being successful. Like, oh, Mr. Black don't want no plaque. He wants a high five. He wants us to tell him that and that's why I want my staff to grow just like my students. I tell my staff all the time, find you in the student. Find who you were missing when you were in high school. That mean girl phase, or that bully. Find who you were, and then like become that advocate, that co-pilot. So I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, because first of all, anybody knocking on my door, wanting records and making sure I'm not taking money, so I know I'm doing my job. But people enjoy coming to work for me. People enjoy, like I have teachers that I was able to light the fire back to why they wanted to be teachers. It's tough being a teacher in any school setting, because you're teaching to a test, or there's always an exam, and then no matter what you do, it's not enough. But I'm fortunate that my teachers are like, this is why I wanted to be a teacher, to be creative, not be in a class. Let's go outside and do the science. My thing is, what's the outcome that I need to have? Okay, now you create your movie, but the ending has to be this. These kids have to graduate from high school, enroll, and graduate from college. Make it work. And so I know how to pinch a penny. I know how to make it work. And I'm blessed. I'm just blessed, and my team is amazing. I'm supported by the college, and my kids keep me on my toes, and they make me happy. So if you know me, this is how I am. This is the perfect job for my personality and my need to be loved. These kids give me that, and I love kids. So it's like the perfect blend, and my staff feel it the same way too.
I love that. I love that. And building that community and empowering them at the same time. I love it. Hey, I was interested, Kate, over in 9 PBS, how do you measure success and excellence in your leadership role, and what matrix do you focus on?
Yeah, we decided about 5 years ago to have a real intentional shift in our culture to one that's much more positive and inclusive. And one of the key ways that we did that is to focus not only just on what people do, but how they do it. And so even every year, whenever we sit down with staff and we're trying to measure their progress and their goals and their outcomes and all the things, the discussion first talks about, okay, here's the goals that you set. Were you able to accomplish it? What did your work look like? But then the whole second half of it is, how did you show up for the people around you? Because what we were finding is a lot of individuals were these high achievers, but they made people miserable in the process of achieving all their goals because they were only out for themselves. And so that's not acceptable anymore. And not only do we want you to focus on how can you make the organization better and how can you make the community better, but how can you make the environment that you're working within one that's more positive and really creates an environment for everybody to be successful and not only yourself. And so for me, having that focus on both of those, and when we have someone who isn't willing to develop the leadership skills or the collaborative skills to work with other people, you have to go. Like, it's not going to work here. And we have found that to be a really successful way of approaching the work that we do with one another. And that's something that I'm always focused on in my work. It's just not what I'm doing, but how am I doing that? And what is the impact that I'm having on everyone else around me? I think the other two things for me that gauge my success would be, do people trust me and do they feel like they can be authentic with me? They might not always like me, they might not always agree with me, but at the end of the day, can they trust me? And do they feel safe enough to show up authentically with me, knowing that I'm gonna be respectful of who they are and what they bring, even if we disagree?
Yeah, and I think it's important to really elevate that word trust in order to reach your matrix or measure the success. Having trust among the team is key and vital to galvanize and move, the strategies and all of the projects forward. So it's good that you said that, because I think that is one of the elements that is not really spoken about in the workplace, and that should be elevated. And I'm curious, over at Dreisig, Mark, what are those metrics that you focus on? How do you measure success and excellence in your role?
Yeah, so great question. And again, I spot on with everybody else in their answers. And I know for Dreisig, it's funny because when it depends on what environment I'm in. So I have, when I'm with and meeting with other CEOs and other owners of companies, it's the quantitative metrics of like how you're successful, right? So it's like, all right, how much money did you bring in? What was your gross profit? What was your net profit, right? So how much are you growing every single year? And I have those financial goals that I set every year, right? And then I make adjustments to those goals, obviously, during the year as well. But that's the quantitative. But the aspect of what I want is the qualitative, right? I want to have a vision that my staff believes in. My staff right now that I currently have, they will run through a wall for me. And I kind of relate everything in business, my world, just in my world between my two ears of what I did in my football career. So coaches always said, "Oh, I want my players to run through a wall for me." Okay. That is exactly what I want for my staff and my employees, and then my collaborative companies that I work with as well, because that's a key part and a key strategic part of my business as well, collaborations. But I want my staff to run through a wall for me. I want them to believe in my vision and let them know that, yes, you are following a leader that's taking you down the correct path, not the wrong path, but the correct path. Okay. They have to 100% believe in you and your vision. And that's what I want from my staff. I want to make sure that they are happy. I want to make sure that, yes, you will run through a wall for me, but I will also run through a wall for you. I tell my staff all the time, there's only one person in the company. So not often, very, very few. I've been in business for 25 years, and this might have happened maybe 5 times in the 25 years. But one of my customers might got a little bit on the wrong side, woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and then tried taking it out on my staff a couple of times. And I tell my staff all the time, I am the only one that can go ahead and talk to a customer that is basically disrespecting you. I said, I still want you to give them great customer service and then pass them along to me. I am the only one, and I say this jokingly, I'm the only one that can cuss them out. because because I'm the one that knows that if I lose the account and I lose that account financially, it's on me. I don't want it to be on you. I want it to be on me. But that is what my staff wants to hear. They want to know that the CEO and the upper leadership of that company is also going to go to bat for them as well. And that's what my staff knows about me. I go to bat for them. They go to bat for me. And then that's why, and we are all aligned on the same vision of where we are taking our company for the future. And then that's where we are. So yes, I want to keep growing every single year. Obviously, financial goals is key for me and my success and what I want to do, from taking my company from a regional company to a national company. But more importantly, I want to make sure that my staff knows that I'm there for them and that we're aligned vision wise and that we're on the same page and the same journey together. And our strategic plan is moving forward in the right direction together. So.
Yes, I love that. And having that vision, because that's the only way that you can move forward. And that's what they trust and believe in. And goodness, you have them running through the wall. Okay,
Yeah.
I knew you guys were superheroes. I knew it. I knew it.
Maria, I must say this one last thing. So, and when I jokingly said that, and I've been hearing that since I was playing college football at Tennessee. And so what I did one day though was, this was years back. What I did was I just got a big paper banner done, and I just went ahead and I just designed it so it looks like bricks. And then I said, I'm going to run through a wall for you. So I just put it up, and then I ran through you know how teams run through the little banners when they come out running. That's what I ended up doing. That's where I got it from. And I said, hey, but I'm running through a wall for you.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Listen, that's now I'm going to take that with me and make sure I print out the same thing, because listen, I really do feel that when your staff and your team, they truly feel that they can rely on you and have your support, and then they know that you'll just clear the path for them to be successful, you get the best out of them and you help them reach their full potential. And so it's great to have the vision, have that trust. I heard you all talk about, community and team and empowering them. I think all of that is key in reaching excellence in your leadership. So I thank you for all sharing that. And so I do want to go ahead and pivot to, listen, we're using this word pivot a lot today. So I want to go ahead and pivot to opening up for questions from our participants on the call, and let this be an open dialogue. So if you have a question, please raise your hand, and then Isla will call on you and you can ask your question to the panelists.
Shanita, can you ask your question, please? I saw you raised your hand.
Shanita, can you hear us? We can't hear you. I think you're still on mute.
If for any reason your audio isn't working, you can also type it in the chat and I can read it out for you.
Yes, it looks like she's in the chat now saying having issues here. Okay, so if you could just put your question in the chat, and then Isla will read it for you. Any other questions here? Oh, she's connecting back in too. I think Shanita, are you back in now?
I just readmitted her.
Okay. The beauty of technology here. Well, while she's coming back on, and I just saw in the chat, she said, sorry, no worries. Listen, we all had technical issues with Zoom or Teams or any of those virtual platforms. But I do have, while we are getting her back on with her question, I had another question that popped in my head. And anyone can answer this. I'm not going to address this to one particular person, but anyone feel free to jump in. How does customer success contribute to leadership excellence for you? What are those roles that comes into play for organizational growth? And I know that's a double whammy, but anyone want to answer that? Go ahead, Marc.
So first thought of mine, customer success for me is that's what my company is built on, because in order to have a successful company, you have to have repeat customers, right? So the more customer success that you have means to me, and translates to me, that the more customers that are going to keep coming back to you over and over and over again, more customers that are going to give other people in other companies, other schools, other organizations a stamp of approval on you and what you've done for them as a business. So they're going to come to you as well. So customer success and customer retention, and again, gaining more customers and repeat business, that's critical for my success at Dreisig. So
I'd like to chime in on this as well. Customer success. What I will say is, when it comes to the work that we do at Access Dental, if I have a happy customer, then I know I have a happy dentist. And if I have a happy dentist, then I know my dentists are going to tell other people about me. What I will also say is, when it comes to customer satisfaction or being able to make a difference in the lives of the customer, it puts you in a position to improve your bottom line, because if I know that my customers are happy, if I know, and when I say customers, I'm considering the consumer, that means my dentists are happy. And that also means that, you know, come the beginning of 2025, if I say, hey, there's going to be a price increase, they know what I've been able to do in the past couple of years. And they're going to say, okay, we understand the price increase, and so let's ride with it. And that's not going to cause them to walk away. And so customer satisfaction, customer success, and because we're B2B, client satisfaction and client success is very important to what we do.
Shanita typed her question in so I can read it quickly. I am in a leadership role in my career, however, not in a management position. How do you motivate the management team to listen to the team effectively and actually make real changes? And I see Julie answered it in here, but Julie, would you like to expand on that too?
Sure. And hi, Isla. It's nice to see you. Yeah, and I think that's such a good question. And that's what I was trying to think, is like, sometimes it's sensitive when you're trying to get management to do something that maybe they're just unaware of, you know? So the best luck that I've always had is when you have, you know, just the facts, the data, like the analytics, like proof points that you can show, like demonstrate, you know, your position or why you're wanting to have something be that way. Kind of even dovetailing to what Mariella was just talking about too with customer success. I do sit in a customer success role, and nothing is more powerful to leadership, or should be more powerful to leadership, than the customer's perspective and their experience. And I think Marc was also just talking about like just how valuable that is. You know, if your customers think you're doing a bad job, then you're probably doing a bad job, right? It's not, you know, you don't define what that looks like. The customer really ultimately defines, you know, what success looks like. So those are at least some of the tools that I've kind of pulled out of the tool bag when I've been trying to influence management into kind of making changes or pivoting. We're using that word, right?
Yes, yes.
From Gabby. She said, first of all, thank you all for the great dialogue from all the panelists today. And then she asked, I've heard both mentor and sponsor are used with mentees. Is there a specific difference between the two, and is one better than the other?
Happy to answer that if you want me
I'm
to.
gonna let the good doctor go first, and then I'm gonna piggyback over her.
I will say this. There is a difference. And when it comes to mentees, I may have a whole class full of people I mentor. These are my mentees. These are the people that I work with on a regular basis, I talk to, but I don't have many people I sponsor. There may be one or two that I sponsor, because with those relationships, not only am I mentoring them, but in some situations, I am assisting with seed money, and I am doing other things to support what they're doing, and not just giving advice, or not just helping with business development, not just helping with educational enrichment. I am putting my money where my mouth is. And that is the difference. And so if you know someone who is looking to sponsor you and it is all above board, that may be something you're interested in.
Okay. I see Kate and Kenyon, you had some thoughts too? Yeah.
I was going to say the same thing. Perfect.
Yep, she got that. The good doctor got that one. That was perfect. Yep.
Perfect. I love that word too. Perfect. So I would say thank you, everyone, for asking your questions. Thank you, panelists, for being able to share your insights in the open dialogue. I have one more question for our panelists, and it was, if you can give me one word or one sentence, how do you define excellence in leadership?
I would say service.
Right.
Service.
For me, it's inspire and motivate. That's to me what a leader is. They inspire, they motivate. Oh, my camera. I thought I was getting taller for once. I was so happy. I was getting so excited, but that's not what happened. Sorry, y'all.
Nice. So Kate said it's service, and Kenyon says inspire and motivate.
I would say a little fragment, but be the best that you can be.
Be the best that you can be. Love that.
I would say uplift others, uplift, empower others.
Love that. Uplift and empower others.
I think it's so hard. There's so many things that are running through my mind, right? Of like, I would think what I admire the most in a leader is their character. So just someone of good character that I can trust.
Yes. Good character. Love that. Love. And I really think that all of you all truly embody everything that you have shared with us. The one word or one sentence really does describe the essence of all of you on this call. And so I'm thankful that you took the time to share with my program participants and giving the insights to how to reach excellence. So this is just a quick poll that we have here. This is our Reaching Excellence poll. It's just 4 questions, and they're all multiple choice, so you just choose which resonates with you. I think I need some music here while you guys are reading. Yeah.
I can sing a song if you want me to. She's your queen too. Okay, all right. Y'all don't appreciate it. Dr. Shanelle, you started laughing before I even started, so I ain't worried about you.
I knew where you were going.
I could tell the two of you know each other. And
Yes. We do.
I did not know. So I learned something new about the two of you as well. So beautiful. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I'm seeing done, done, done. Perfect. Wonderful. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll here, and then I'll share some of the results, which is really good. Okay, perfect. So one of the questions that was, how do you primarily measure success in reaching excellence in leadership? And it looks like 64% of you said positive impact on team and community. Wonderful. The second question was, which leadership quality do you believe is the most crucial for driving positive change within communities? And 55% of you said effective communication. The third question was, what motivates you to register for leadership workshops and panel discussions? And 55% of you said interactive learning experiences and skill development. And then last is, do you want more panel discussions like this? And 82% says they do. So wonderful. So we're going to do that. We're going to provide more panel discussions. This is our annual Reaching Excellence panel discussion. After the call ends today, you will receive a free Reaching Excellence workbook. This workbook will help guide you in your leadership role and your leadership journey. It is a very interactive and thought-provoking workbook, and it's just for you. It's if you choose to share it with others, please feel free to do so. It is a transformative type of workbook. But if you want more or want me to share this with others, just let me know and I can share with you all the link too. But I will have you all go to our website, and it is platinumreine.org/workbook, and I'm putting it in the chat. And that is where you will get the free workbook to help you in that process. And so I also want to just say one more thing about all of our panelists before we end our call and our panel discussion. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Each of you took the time out to not only just say, yes, Mariella, I'll join your panel. I don't know if I gave you an option to say no, but because you all know me, I eat no for breakfast. But I love that each of you said yes to this opportunity and experience for our program participants and to share your insights from your industry, from your lens. I love that you are all about community, empowering, being impactful. And I also love that you all have very similar qualities across the board that makes you a very valuable and influential leader. And so some takeaways, and I hope that everyone else on this call, I wrote down and was jotting, you guys couldn't see my hand moving, but I was jotting down some keywords. But we talked about mindset, mindfulness, pivoting, manifestation with the pros and cons list. We talked about confidence is key and investing in yourself, aiming high and reaching for the stars. And even if you're not at the stars, you're still in the sky, like that still is resonating in my mind here. We talked about the corporate ladder and how there's a ladder to go straight up, or that ladder could be your career walk wall and making those lateral moves. And then what about your habits? Your habits are your future. That's a good nugget that everyone should write down. And then thinking about, don't chase the money. I love that. I think every role that I have been in my 20 plus year journey has not been about the money. It's been, do I feel passionate about the work that I'm doing, and am I making an impact? And so don't chase the money, but find your passion and be happy about it. Because there is a saying that my mother always told me, if you find a job that you love, it never seems like work. And so I think that is very similar to, not chasing the money, but finding your passion and being happy. And then there was another quote, nothing is a destination, it's a journey. And then believe believe in your vision, supporting your team and supporting each other. And then also the mission to empower everyone is how you help them become better. So I want to go ahead and see anyone else on the panel. Do you have any last words? Because I feel like I kind of got a lot of all of your keywords, but any other last words, and I will open the floor for you all to share that.
I put a couple of statements in the chat. One was, there are no losses, only lessons.
Good one. Yes.
And like you, I learned tonight. I learned something tonight. This was powerful, and I hope you got something out of it. And thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys for sharing all of your great nuggets, your tips, your experience. And I thank you all for being transparent and authentically yourself and unapologetically you. Everyone, thank you for joining Platinum Reine Foundation's first annual Reaching Excellence panel discussion. I want you all to have a beautiful evening. I hope you have been inspired, and I hope that you feel empowered and know that investing in yourself, listen, you'll win at the end of it. So have a good evening, you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Be blessed.